cross, if you will, for the last several years now, trying to figure out, as we go forward on growth and progress, what are we doing to, I hate to use this buzzword smartly, because everybody uses it, smartly grow, smart growth. I hate that, but it fits here. So I throw that on your radar screen. That would be something that, as a decision maker in this city, would be incredibly helpful. That's one. Two, what is our number on the low and moderate income that are whatever the healthy living or whatever it used to be called HUD, but 10% is the threshold. So what's our number now?
It's in there. I think you're at 14% roughly on the SHI. The subsidized housing inventory is what you're referring to.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, I believe it's around 14%. I can get you the exact number.
So I'm just curious, I'm curious as to trends. Is that trend going up? Is that trending going down? Is that trend remaining stable? The argument that do you have an answer on that before I go with the argument is, do you know what the trend is?
So recently it's been relatively stable. It went up, I think, over the decade from 2010 to 2020. And then most recently you've had permitted of SHI units in several developments at the same time you've had market rate units develop. So your percentage might not have changed that much in the past couple of years, even though you've had housing growth of affordable housing.
So one of the arguments we're constantly hearing, because when we stop saying we're gentrifying the city, we're gentrifying the city, whatever that means. I guess wealthy people are moving into the city, or people are creating wealth and they're living, or investors are coming, I don't know. But that seems to be a concern of some that we're doing that. Meanwhile, we are way beyond, I would argue, way beyond the state requirement under SHI at 14%. We've remained steady, and when, as you mentioned, when we do with market rate housing, we've been going also with the SHI housing as well. SHI stands for what's housing?
Subsidized housing inventory.
So what I'm hearing is that that's kind of going at the same time.
I would have to look at the exact numbers, but it seems like it's been that way. I don't have my laptop in front of me right now to get that for you. What I would say is that one of the things we looked at is seeing what the actual need is, and we can dig into the specific numbers, but the 10%, of course, is the minimum the state requires across all communities, but it's become pretty clear to us that in most of our cities and towns, not just Lawrence, 10% is nowhere near enough affordable housing stock, and so that's why we talk about, all right, so 10% is the state minimum that they recommend, or that they require through Chapter 40B, but you actually need much more than that given the rates of cost burden we showed earlier in your community.
And so the question goes back to how much can we do as a city with capacity, and what are other communities doing as well? I get the exercise.
Sure.
In your opening comment, you said we need to do this because we'll get a leg up with, I think, grants or other kind of carrots. Can you describe what kind of carrots, what kind of grants, what kind of benefits we get from moving forward on this?
Yeah, so one of the things with this housing production plan is that when you have a housing production plan, it factors into your designation as a housing choice community. And so to get designation as a housing choice community from the state, having a housing production plan is one of the things that you need in order to get that designation, in addition to housing growth. When you are designated as a housing choice community, you get access to housing choice grants from the state. Happy to send along the specifics of that program if it's of interest, but that's the one key thing it's tied to.
Housing choice.
Yes.
Grants.
Yes.
And so I want to drill down, because this is the reason why we're doing it, apparently. We're doing this because we want to get housing choice grants. So to me, this vote equates to that. If we don't vote, we don't support this, all this means is that we're not going to be eligible for housing choice grants. Am I right so far?
I will also say that the importance of this is not just for grant reasons. I led with that, of course, but I think it's also to think smartly about your needs of your community and look at the next 5 years. Where's your current housing stock? Where does it need to go? How do we accommodate for what residents need? So the grants are kind of the nice cherry on top, in my opinion, but the real important piece is the exercise of looking at where is our housing stock today, what do our residents need, and how do we accommodate that need, knowing that there is a desperate need for housing in the city. So I think the planning exercise is just as important as the grant piece.
I'm going to drill down a little bit further on the housing choice grant, and I do want to talk about the basis for the numbers that you provided in the charts. So number one is the housing choice grant. So if we do this and we get the cherry on the ice on the Sunday that you just mentioned, what does that mean? What does that mean to the city? Does that mean we're going to be getting money for what?
So there's
plans, growth, giving people, developers more funding for something. What does that provide?
So they will fund anything from infrastructure to support development. So things like water, sewer lines, that sort of thing. They will also fund planning. If you're trying to look at a neighborhood and do a plan for the neighborhood's future growth, there are planning grants available through the Housing Choice. I don't have the full list, but I can provide that for you.
But
I'm
the
happy
key
to do
here
that.
is that this is hence the name.
Yep.
If you wanted to create a business or some sort of other industrial basis on that, the housing choice grant's not gonna be the carrot for that. The
It-
housing choice grant's the carrot for more housing units, or am I wrong
No,
on that?
it could support commercial areas as well, that grant program.
For housing in the commercial area, could, if you wanted to
It
grow,
isn't specific,
whatever.
you don't when you're applying for a housing choice grant, you don't have to say it is for this specific housing development. If there is a need in the community, what happens is when you apply for these grants through the state, it's through one common application portal. And when you say, this is the project we're doing, let's say you're trying to do a sidewalk project on a street. You will say, we're doing a sidewalk project, this is what we need the money for. The state will say, oh, you're a housing choice community, so you can also tap into the pot of funds for housing choice communities in order to get access to that program. You're not applying and saying, we're building an apartment building, we want this. You're applying and saying, here's the city need. Because we're a housing choice community, we get access to a separate pot of funds that the rest of the state does not get access to.
Okay. And then, thank you. And then the other thing is basis. I saw quickly, and frankly, I did not look at this, the report.
Yeah.
Or the production plan. I am very eager to look at that, as you can tell by my energy on these
Yeah.
questions. So I'm looking forward to looking at that in more detail, frankly. But some of those numbers that were on there, I mean, I looked at the occupancy permits, for example. Those were incredibly low. That tells me something. It's not that we're not having more units. Our visuals, walking up and down, we know, we can tell that there are more and more units being developed in the city, more and more. And to say that there's been no occupancy permits or very little occupancy permits tells me that that data, for whatever the data source is flawed.
It's from the building department.
And it's flawed.
They're not doing their job.
I'm going to be kind and say it's flawed. I had a meeting on the budget regarding this the other day, and we saw the amounts of money that are coming in through occupancy permits was amazingly low. We just haven't gotten it. So we're not doing, there's a disconnect.
Sure.
And so to make an argument, so if we're basing what we're doing on flawed data, doesn't that kind of erode the confidence in what the report is looking to provide? That's one. The school information, for example, that stopped at 2020.
Right, and so we will be adding additional to that. We were chatting with the city earlier about the charts that we want to add the remaining 5 years to in the data. It usually lags a year or two behind with some of the DESI data when they do some updating after the school year. So we anticipate we'll be able to add through 2023 into that chart when we get that finished up. Probably 24 by now, actually.
I'm going to stop there. I could go on, and I'm looking for two things. I would either like to have table this here and have a further
Yeah.
discussion with more time, or if that can't happen for whatever the reasons are, I would love to have a meeting directly with the folks who are mostly involved in this, so we can drill down a lot more and get a better idea of what we're dealing with here. But as it stands right now, if there's going to be a vote from this committee, I will not be supporting it, and I will tell you why. Just because of the data is flawed. I'm not sending up the information on a report that my eyes are telling me are flawed. Never mind about the basis. Never mind about the housing choice. Everybody knows where I stand on housing in the city, and what I want to do is deal with the illegal apartments in there. I'm not anti-growth, but we need to figure out what we're doing with the unlawful apartments before we start growing more. And so I've been out there for years, so it's no secrets. But the other part of this is I can't be saying, yeah, this report's good when the underlying data is flawed. So that's where I stand on this. I'm not sure if we're going to table or whatever, but that's where I stand. Thank you, Madam Chair.
May I?
What I'll add to that is, because I'm reading this plan, and while also paying attention to the PowerPoint presentation, I'm trying to soak in all the data.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to figure out or have gained some sort of understanding is how does your plan will address the challenges and mitigate those challenges, such as addressing the growing numbers of of our elderly community living in the city, and how would this plan that is before us for approval, how is that going to help that community, as well as the data in regards to those that are under 20 and those between the ages of 20 to 30s. Like, I'm just trying to gain an understanding as to how this plan is going to fix or
Yeah.
adjust or help, or what is the solution here?
Well, I wish it could fix everything, but it's not going to. And what I'll also say is that you certainly do not have to take action on this tonight. At least, personally, as a planner, as someone that's doing this across the region, I would much prefer you read this, take your time, comprehend it, and
Thank
know what's
you.
happening. And so, as I've said in other communities, and I'll say tonight, if you want this to be further discussed at a future full council meeting or committee meeting, I am happy to come back and have that discussion with all of you. Feel free to let me know. In addition to that, I will add that the last couple chapters of the plan, or the last two, focus on production strategies, not just production, but also housing support strategies. So there are some things outlined towards the end that discuss exactly what you're talking about. So needs of the senior population, needs of folks that are falling behind on their rent, or folks that can't have enough funds for a down payment. Several things outlined in there that I had at the end of the PowerPoint that talk about what programs you can target over the next 5 years to meet the housing need in the city. And the last thing I'll say is I would refer to this as your plan and the city's plan, not my plan. I don't want this to be my plan. It shouldn't be. It should be all of yours. And so let's make sure that it is reflective of what you want to see in the community.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate your understanding. Any further questions,
I
Counselor?
just have one comment. I don't
Oh,
want
go ahead.
to, I
You
could be
have
here,
the
like I
floor.
said, we could talk for hours on this because it's a huge issue. I think it's, if not the most, one of the most important issues facing our city, because everything in our city drives from housing. That is the root of everything, right? So, one of the things that I would hope that the plan could consider is also, as best that it can, acknowledge the fact that we do have unlawful housing units in the city, and that's part of the mosaic of our city at this point, of our housing structure. And I think we need to, at some point, acknowledge that in an official document such as this, that says that. I think it's really critical. So that's my editorial comment. If you want to react, I'm eager to listen, but
No, I completely agree with you that it needs to be highlighted what the housing needs are and what the community wants to prioritize for housing going forward. I mean, that's the whole context of this strategy. Housing is the number one topic, not only here, but across every city and town right now in Massachusetts. So I think it's a matter of priorities for you all as a council and as the city to look at and say, there are infrastructure constraints, there are build-out constraints in this community. At the same time, there are people that need housing, and there are people that are looking for additional growth because the supply and demand is so off balance in the city. So how do you prioritize both needs and seeing where are our priorities, as a community? And we'd want to unpack that as a part of it.
Okay.
I'm also Madam Chair, thank you.
All right, so I'm looking for a recommendation to table this item. Can I get a motion?
Motion to table.
Okay, so motion on the table motion to table item 24425, the approval and adoption of the city's new housing production plan, properly seconded by Councilor Santiago. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will be in touch. Out of courtesy, I am noticing a growing number of folks from Sueños Basketball. I do want to make sure that on the record, I am letting you guys know that I will not have quorum. Council President Rodriguez is not with us right now for this meeting, and Councilor Santiago for that item, which is item number 17025, the disposition of real property 389 Water Street, tax map 204, lot 22. She will be excusing herself due to conflict of interest, potential conflict of interest. So that is something that I wanted to make sure that I address. If you could let these folks know that this item will not be discussed today for that reason. Item will remain tabled until our next meeting where we could have proper quorum. I'm not sure if you want to let them know.
Madam Chair, I can be helpful. Who's leading that charge? Who in the audience here is leading that charge?
We have the owners
So
and the attorney.
Charlotte is here, and then we
okay.
have the attorney.
I think that, Madam Chair, it would be perfectly acceptable for you to let the lead folks from the organization know that we can't vote on it tonight because we don't have enough people to vote.
So who's leading it? Is
Who's your
it?
leader?
Oh, well, she's the one, Charlene is the one that
Okay.
came before us
Okay.
to speak on this
Yeah, you
parcel.
guys asked us to have him come in for the meeting, but I get it. They weren't originally invited to the first meeting, and
Yep.
That's
they're all here.
perfectly fine. They're welcome to come to every meeting. It just so happens that our council president has another matter to attend to.
So you want me to address them, or you want to address them?
Is that Jacqueline?
Jacqueline, right?
Okay.
Hey, I'm Charlene. So there's not enough council members to make the vote, and Councilor Fidelina Santiago from District 8 has to recuse herself due to a potential conflict of interest. So it's unfortunate, but we'll reschedule and we can come back to see the council at the next housing committee. I apologize for the inconvenience. Do you want me to?
Yeah, dile a los papás. Ajá.
Okay, in Spanish?
Did you want me to say it, Charlene? I could say
Yeah, I
it.
can say it, you can say it. I
Okay.
just wanna
Usted
make
se
sure I
puede
don't step
parar
on
si
anybody's
quiere.
toes.
Okay. Se puede parar? Okay. Do you mind, Councilor LaPlante, for me to,
It's a little awkward, to be honest with you, because
Okay.
you're the chair right now. If she, frankly, it's less awkward if she just says it in Spanish.
can do it.
The folks over there. 'cause
I
you're
just don't want to
supposed
step on
be
anybody's
Okay.
toes.
You're supposed to be conducting in English,
All
so-
right.
but she can certainly go ahead and do it.
so I'll say it in English and you
And I'll
could
translate.
relay it in
Yeah,
Spanish.
perfect. That's
As the chair of this committee for housing, unfortunately, due to the lack of quorum, our city council president, Giovanni Rodriguez, who's also a voting member of this committee, is not with us.
Lo quería dejarles saber, estoy traduciendo para la Madam Chair. No hay suficientes consejeros en el participio para poder tomar una decisión. El concejal Giovanni se tuvo que excusar y la concejal Fidelina Santiago también se tiene que excusar por un posible conflicto de interés en el artículo. Entonces, por esa razón, vamos a tener que hacer otra fecha e invitarlos de nuevo a que regresen a hablar de la propiedad.
Okay, so that, to me, it was important for them, even though it's not the next item on the agenda, considering that I'm seeing a growing number of folks that I know that they're here for this item, I wanted to make sure that they were aware of it and they're just not sitting around waiting for an item that cannot be discussed.
Ella quería tomar cuenta de que había un sinnúmero de personas en la aula y quería dejarles saber que aunque el artículo no es el próximo artículo en la agenda, no quería que ustedes se quedaran esperando si sabemos lo que va a suceder cuando llamen el artículo. Entonces quería dejar saber por cortesía que no lo vamos a poder ver y lo que posiblemente pudiera haber pasado cuando se lo llamaba.
Okay. So we'll give you guys, notification for the next,
Le dejamos saber a Jacqueline y al abogado para la próxima audiencia.
thank you. My apologies.
Why did, never mind.
What was that?
Never mind, it's not-
No, talk to me.
No, it's
But yeah, I don't know details as to where he's at. The next item on the agenda is item number 246, let me say that again. Item 24625, the consideration of land lease beyond the 20 years, leasee Mark Scott, Hangar 4 LLC. We have our airport manager, Francisco Ureña, to discuss on this item. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Councilors. I'm joined, Francisco Urena, Airport Manager. I'm joined today by Mr. Mark Scott from Falcon Air, the fixed base operator and manager of various hangars and hangar spaces at the airport. On the meeting of the Airport Commission on May 15th of this last month of this year, the Airport Commission did vote in the favor of a lease by Mark Scott's request.
Do you give me 1 second?
Sure.
I just want to close that. Oh, never mind, they already did it. They did it for us. Okay, thank you.
On the May 15th meeting of the Lawrence Airport Commission, one of the matters that was voted favorably was for Mark Scott's request to receive a long-term lease beyond 20 years. The Airport Commission, by Mass General Law, Chapter 90, Section 51F, has the authority to vote up to 20 years for a lease, and with the approval of this body or the recommendation of the City Council, they could obtain up to a longer-term lease. And in this case, Mark Scott's looking for a 30-year lease.
Okay. Opening the floor for any questions.
just,
Counselor LaPlante?
I got a lot of confidence in the airport director. I also think that he's got a very good board working for him or them. He's working for them.
Sure.
But I do need to ask, why is 30 years important as opposed to 20? Why do we need to extend the extra 10 years?
It's a business practice, and it was a request of this specific business to do so. If it's okay with you, Counselor, I could invite Mr. Scott to the podium so he could give you a little bit more background. Mr. Mark
Please.
Scott?
Hello, Mark Scott, Falcon Air. I've been up at the airport for, gotta be 35, 40 years now. And one of my leases was a 45-year lease, and that just helped me realize that I'm not going anywhere. And my business has been expanding and expanding. I'm currently building some hangars. We're selling them. We're keeping our neighbors happy. Everything's going good. One of my facilities is tremendously expensive. I don't know which direction to go to it as far as my monthly costs, and that's a lease in question. And I'd just like the same sense of security that I can keep that building for a long time, where we cannot buy the property. The government's involved, the city of Lawrence is involved, North Andover's involved. And again, my main business, Falcon Air, has a 45-year lease. That expires when I'm in my 80s, and I'm in my 60s now. That gave me more confidence that my business is gonna grow forever, and I just wanna do that on another entity. I have 2 partners in the other entity. We're all the same age, and we just want more security that we're gonna stay at the airport for us to invest in it. Again, we're investing in a new one now, smaller project, so 20 years is fine with that. But again, there's
This is the
30.
Whatever one we're doing now is a 30-year, not the smaller 20-year one. This is
Yeah,
this is
so
a more
the
substantive one.
20 works for certain ones, but just on the bigger ones, a 30 is better. In the event we want to sell the property, which I don't foresee in the future, the next person would feel much better having a longer
Okay, that was
lease.
gonna be my next question, which is, is it transferable? The answer is yes.
Right.
Is it transferable,
Yes.
And the answer is yes.
With the approval of the Airport Commission.
but not before the council at this point? This is
No.
just for the 30, and then the airport commission is the checks and balances going forward on the transfer?
Yes, Counselor, correct.
Gotcha.
There's also government, not to interrupt, checks and balances from the FAA on who could buy the property. Well, they can't buy the property, they can only buy the building. So there are many checks and balances. The government even says what type of tenants I can have in some of my buildings. They have to be aviation orientated. Or then, if we screwed that up, you could lose the federal funding for the airport, which I believe is over 90% of any of the projects up there. So that just helps everyone getting the government help. So there are a lot of checks and balances in my industry.
Madam Chair, that makes you feel a lot more comfortable listening to the dialogue here and understanding that this is, that there are very strict requirements, and that if anything were to change, that the airport commission would be the entity that would be reviewing any kind of changes. As long as we have good people at the airport commission, then we're gonna maintain the asset that the Lawrence has in the town of North Andover. So that's fantastic. So I've got no questions, and I'm looking, I can make a motion at any time.
Okay, any further questions before a motion is made? Okay, I'm looking for a recommendation. I'm looking for a motion.
Make a motion, we send this up to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Okay, so motion has been made for item number 24625, the consideration of land lease beyond the 20 years. So let me be specific, we're looking for 30 then.
Yes, correct.
Consideration of land lease for 30 years for leasee Mark Scott Hangar 4 LLC, properly second. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Congratulations. You're all set?
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much.
I would recommend, Madam Chair, that they return on the Tuesday for the actual vote
I
by the full
agree.
council.
So this item has been approved to send to full council with a favorable recommendation. So on Tuesdays, when all the city council members will take a vote on this once again.
It'll be next Tuesday. Yeah,
Yes.
okay, perfect.
All righty.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it.
I believe Charlotte is still here, and it's in regards to, we're gonna do these in bulk.
Okay.
Yeah, do you have to be somewhere?
I do, but this is important, we get this city done, so I'm just checking. I don't know. Well, the event already started, but we need to get this stuff done, so.
these out. So, give me one second. What item was that? Just two, I feel like 204, the disposition is
That's the three,
twice here.
yeah, they merged them. There's two item numbers, and I emailed your clerk and asked her to merge them together.
Okay.
And she would, and I think that they are. I even confirmed that right before the meeting, that they were together.
All right, so, well, I'll get clarity as to what the item number would be.
It's 204-25, that's the one that we want to use, versus the ones,
Technically, we tabled.
mhm.
Technically, or no, we didn't even address, to be honest, okay, so 204 is the one you want to move forward.
Please, yes, and moving forward, it should be corrected to be that way, and we're,
Okay,
I don't know if you want to request for them to delete the extra one.
I'll talk to our city clerk.
Perfect.
All right, just making sure. So, we're starting with 205?
We will start with 205-25.
Okay, and are we taking, no, this one cannot be blocked. We cannot, do this one as a block, correct?
No, this is a single. I'll let you know when we get to the block. It's actually the Newberry Street. Yeah. It's,
I see it.
yeah.
Okay, let's just,
And I'll explain why we can block them when we get there, unless you want to do them all now.
all right. So I'm looking for a motion to untable item number 205, 25, the declaration of surplus property of 113 Exchange Street, map 171, lot 56, Home Equity Theft Act. We have our acting community development director, Charlene Pascual. If you could please proceed with discussing what this item is about.
Sure, absolutely. So,
Oh, yeah, I'm so sorry. You're right.
Second.
Motion to untable, a motion has been made, properly second. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Now you
Perfect.
may proceed.
thank you so much, Madam Chair. So I am, like you mentioned, Charlene Pascual, Acting Director for Community Development, also wearing the Asset Officer hat tonight. Declaration of surplus for the property located at 113 Exchange Street, map 171, lot 56, Home Equity Theft Act property, and I wanted to untable this item. The details of this property are that there's a lot area of 3,200 square feet. It is in a residential 3 area. It is a vacant lot. The assessed value is $317,100. The estimated annual tax is $2,790 with 48 cents. And just so, to give you a little bit of background, we have previously met on these Home Equity Theft Act properties. There was a change in legislation at the federal level with, an incident, just to give you a little bit of background, that happened with an elder who, the property was taken due to tax title. And so, just in a quick summary, because I know we went through this both personally and one-on-ones, and then we also had Capola and Capola come down and meet with the council and explain to them the home equity theft. So just, I don't want to ramble, but just a little bit of background. So under that Home Equity Theft Act, there's a requirement for us to do these things in a different manner than we've usually done them. So to say the very least, we have a turnaround time that we have to report back to the court of what we're going to do with these properties. So we're acting as if they're ours, right, to make sure that when they do come, that we're ready to move forward with them. We have to tell the court in a 14-day time frame if we're going to keep the property or if we're going to not keep the property, right? So these are properties that are already in our city inventory, and so these are the ones that fall under that category after the May 21st, 2021 timeline. So these are the ones that fall under that category, if that makes sense. And that's why we're doing the Home Equity Theft Act now. Other communities have been sued by the federal government because they haven't acted on it, they haven't responded, they haven't done what they needed to do in the time frame. So we're trying to get ahead of that and not be one of those communities. And that's why the Home Equity Theft Acts are sent to you guys in red, and they will continue to be coming down to you guys in red so that you guys can understand that this is a home equity theft versus the ones that we do regularly, and that'll differentiate the process for you guys, if
Thank
that's
you
okay.
so much.
So there's, those are the details. As a city, we've decided we already have them. We're gonna move forward when ready to do so, to dispose of the city properties. And there's different ways that we dispose of city properties. We do the direct disposition, we do the yard sale program, and we do our RFPs for any properties that are over $35,000. And we're subject to 30B laws and all that good stuff. The Home Equity Theft Act properties will be going through a realtor, an appraiser, and just a slightly different process than what I would be doing the process completely with the help of the city attorney and all that good stuff. But this is gonna go through a realtor, an appraiser, and most of the work is gonna be handled that way, if that makes sense.
Did we, 'cause I remember I did meet with you one-on-one, do you guys already have a realtor in place that's representing the city?
No, so we have to RFP for a realtor and we have to RFP for an appraiser, and that's gonna be in the works.
Do you do the RFP for every property, or this one realtor is gonna handle all the properties?
That's a good question.
I'm
I
curious if you do.
I don't wanna
an
tell you what I
RFP.
assume, I'm just gonna tell you that I'll get back to you on the question.
Yeah, I'm intrigued, if
Mm-hmm.
we're just doing an RFP process for, individually, because,
Right.
is on a case-by-case basis,
Right,
or if we're just gonna hire this,
one person to do
this
all
as a
of them.
vendor, if we're hiring this, realtor as a vendor to the city, and this person will be representing as the city's realtor in regards to the
Home
theft-
equity.
Home Equity Theft Act. So that's something I'm intrigued. I didn't
For
mean to
sure,
cut
and
you
that
off.
that RFP will come before you. We will definitely put together an RFP for the realtor, and those details will be discussed then. We'll tell you then if it's gonna be the same person, if it'll be multiple people, if it'll be case by case, and then you can decide on the RFP how you wanna move forward, because you guys would have to
Does
review
the
them.
Home Equity Theft Act tell you specifically how exactly the city should go about this, if it's?
I had originally invited the city attorney who was in our chambers, and I'm not sure if he's online now, to answer these questions for us, because I wanted him to be here, so that he can answer some of those legal questions for us. I don't see him in the chamber anymore. I'm not sure if we can check if he's online,
I don't even.
but he
know.
was here for these items
was,
particularly, and I'm not sure where he went.
He was present, I did see
Mm-hmm.
him in the chambers, but we've been having issues.
Right.
Since the onset of this meeting, so.
And
there's
so
no
we
way
do
for me
have
to
one,
answer that.
not this particular property, but one of our properties has already a judgment lien, and we're already on that 14-day clock.
But how do you guys go about it if you?
We have to come before you guys, we have to declare the property surplus to be able to move forward. So if you would like, maybe we can, I don't know, table all the items and not that one.
I'm not saying all that, but, my question is, I feel like it's
No, it's
valid.
valid. It's valid question, for sure.
I just want to make sure I wasn't cutting you off.
No.
Before I'm opening the floor for.
Absolutely.
Counselors to ask any questions. So are you all set, or? is
For
there
this
any-
item, I gave you the details. I explained what I could of the Home Equity Theft Act and, what some of those implications may be. Capola was here, and I'm not sure if those questions were asked when he was here and if he cleared that up, but I can't answer those questions for you guys.
That's
today,
fine.
sorry.
I'll make sure to get my answer.
I'll get you the answer.
And then
And I will share it
all
with the council.
counselors.
Yes,
Counselors, do
sure.
you have any questions, discussions on this item?
I do, only because this is the first one, I suspect everything else will go a little faster. I
Right.
hope. So the declaring surplus, I understand the old rules, we got some new rules. So once we declare this surplus, that gets us off the timing hook that we had before. And you said there were two boxes. One was either we are going to declare surplus, and that we either have a need for it or we don't have a need for it.
Right.
Correct? And so, and in this particular case, we don't have a need for this. Is that, well, you tell me, do we have a need for this or don't have a need?
So we're looking to proceed with whatever, at this point, with the value of the property, being 317, it would have to be RFP because it's over 35 grand. All those other details, it's not a buildable lot. because it's shy of the ordinance minimums, which is 5,000 square feet for us to build a 3-family, 7,000 square feet to build a 2-family, 10,000 square feet to build a 1-family. So it doesn't meet the minimum square footage for it to be a buildable lot, this lot in particular, but there's a home on it. So it's not a vacant lot. It's actual, it's a home. It's not on a buildable area, but there's a home there for sale, and we think that we can sell it, move it forward, and create some revenue for the city.
Only through taxes, not through the profits, or we're not, there's no money, we can't make money on the sale.
Well, actually, so whatever's owed to us in taxes for this property, we can keep. The other part has to be put in an escrow account, and, you know, we're gonna calculate the fees and all the things that go into the legals and all that good stuff, and whatever's left over has to go into an escrow account, and then the homeowner has the option to come for her money, his or her money,
And so just.
or the difference,
This
the
is-
equity.
This is new, and remind me again. So
For all of us,
once-
yes.
Once we vote on this surplus, and we declare it a surplus at the full council next Tuesday, is there gonna be another vote on this property before the council, or is that our last vote on this property in the council?
That question in particular comes up every time I'm here, which is why I invited the city attorney to come and address this for you guys. I just want to make sure that you guys get the legal advice that you need to make the decisions that you need to. To be honest with you, he's the one that can answer that question for you.
So we're a bit of a disadvantage.
Yes, I'm
Is this
sorry.
Is this our timeline, is this,
Not yet for 113 Exchange Street.
but there's some in here that there's some timeframes, okay, so, well, I'm gonna have the same questions on the ones we got timeframes, so.
Right.
And same as mine, it's like.
I know,
with,
I know, I'm here.
So my recommendation, Madam Chair, is on something like this, I would recommend that, this doesn't make a difference, I guess. We could send it up to the full council. I would think we would be sending the other stuff up to the full council that has got a timeliness associated to it, because if we don't do it, we're putting ourselves in jeopardy. So
I
we-
think that also, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I hope, if I'm misspeaking, you just let me know, but I think we're putting ourselves in jeopardy, if I understand this correctly, if we don't vote on the things that have a tight timeframe. So we want to move on those things sooner rather than later. But the question still remains, but we can get that answer at the full council level as
Absolutely.
opposed to here. But once we get that answer, I guess as I'm talking, I'm thinking out loud. So what I think I would feel more comfortable with
As a
would be
committee
to,
report?
would be to table the stuff that's not imminent, and then I would move on the things as a committee report on the things that are imminent, that we need timing, and then we would need to get the answer from the city attorney, because I don't want to hold this hostage, because we are in peril as a city if we delay anything.
Yes,
And who knows?
that's what I'm afraid of.
And who knows if meetings get canceled or whatever. so.
And to that point, there are ones that are already on a time
So
clock.
just let us know which
But
ones are.
the other ones can come tomorrow, or can come Friday, or can come Monday. I'm not expecting them to come that soon, but that's what could happen.
So this one right here that we might table could come tomorrow,
Yeah.
hypothetically, and then you'd have to come before us really fast.
Exactly. I
Okay.
know. And so we're kind of in a pickle. This is federal regulations. It's not really something that we want to do, something that's imposed on us. And we've already seen communities, we've seen some of the lawsuits that are going back and forth, and we just want to make sure that we're covering
The other thing
ourselves.
too, Madam Chair, is if we ever get in that pickle, let's say hypothetically we table this, and let's say we find out tomorrow, and it's too late to put this on the agenda hypothetically, we could always discharge it. We've had a chance, we've met our bare minimums. We're listening to the discussion now, we've met as a committee, and now if the full council wants to discharge because of that circumstance you described, now we're on the clock. I think we can move on it with 6 votes of the full council. It's a
Right.
higher bar, but I can't imagine any councilor saying no on that. is my
Right.
point. So anyway, my recommendation, Madam Chair, would be this. On this item right here, I would make a motion, as long as everybody's happy with the questions or whatever. If there is a motion, I'd make a motion to table this matter until the next housing committee meeting. That's what I would be doing.
Okay, and you submit that as a form of a motion?
As long as I'm not stepping on the toes of my colleague from District A who may have questions. If she doesn't have questions, then I'll make that as a motion.
But a motion to table.
Yeah, I second.
Okay.
I'll make the motion table, sure.
All right, so a motion has been a motion has been made to table item 20525, declaration of surplus property. 113 Exchange Street, map 17156. I know our clerk wanted additional information. So tax map 171, lot 56, lot area 3,200 square feet with the assessed value of $317,100. It was properly seconded by Councilor Santiago. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. On to the next item on this agenda is item number 20625, declaration of surplus property to Masgio. Is that how you pronounce this? Masgio?
Masgio, yeah.
Masgio.
View, please.
View Place, map 69, lot 20. It's a Home Equity Theft Act. Director, if you could please proceed with this item.
Sure. And there's one item from all who is on that clock. So this is the same as the previous item.
Madam Chair, can I, just to facilitate things a little faster, if everything's the same and we don't have that information, just that one item is the
Right.
one that I would look
Absolutely.
forward to moving.
It's-
I make a motion that we table this matter as well.
Table, okay. Motion has been made to table item number 20525, the declaration of surplus to Masgio View Place, map 69, lot 20. This is in reference, once again, to tax map 69, lot 20, with a lot area of 2,488 square footage with an assessed value of 7,800. Properly second by, so motion has been made to table, properly second by Councilor Santiago. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and the ayes have it. The next item on, I just gave myself a paper cut. The next item on the agenda is item number 20725, the declaration of surplus property of 46 Cedar Street, map 168, lot 144, Home Equity Theft Act. Director, if you could please, you have the floor.
So this property, like the last two, same.
Same.
Madam Chair, I can make a motion to table.
Okay, motion has been made to table item 20625, declaration of surplus, no, 207. Motion has been made to table item 20725, declaration of surplus property, 46 Cedar Street, map 168, lot 144. The details of this is tax map 168, lot 144, with a lot area of 4,200 square footage with an assessed value of $32,500. Properly seconded by Councilor Santiago. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is item number 20825, declaration of surplus property 266-272 Jackson Street, map 111, lot 1, Home Equity Theft Act. And again, just for the sake of the taking of our minutes, I'm gonna be a little bit more specific. So, address of 266-272 Jackson Street, tax map 111, lot 1, lot area of 6,474 square footage with an assessed value of $50,600. Director, you have the floor.
Sure. I wanted to provide to you guys, since
Wait,
then.
I'm so sorry. Can I get a motion to untable this item?
Second.
I just realized. Okay, Director, you have the floor.
For the record.
I already cut myself.
So since our last housing meeting that was adjourned a little earlier due to budget, there's been some updated numbers to this. I've gotten numbers from the attorney, and I wanted to share them with you today. They came in last night.
I'd be so forgetting to untable stuff.
And while you guys circle around that. It is, this is the one.
This
Yeah,
is the one. All right, good.
this is the one. So, in reference to 266-272 Jackson Street, map 111, lot 1, lot area 6474, square footage, 6,474 square feet. It is in a business 2 zoning area. It is a vacant lot. And the assessed value for this property, as you guys have received the updated information, is $151,600 with an estimated annual tax of $2,790 with 96 cents. And to give you a little bit of a background on this property, it is a vacant lot on the corner of Jackson and Berkeley Street. And this property is in judgment lien, and they are going to be foreclosing on this property in the next 14 days. Less than 14 days because it came in on the 4th of June. But the attorney shared this with us yesterday, June 11th.
Based on the home equity that's could the city have any interest to any of these properties?
So this property in particular, I don't have the exact numbers, but there's a rough estimate of about $400,000 that are owed.
Whoa.
So we're just trying to get something back from what is owed to us.
$400,000?
I'm trying to, I wish I had the paperwork here.
That's what she said.
You know what, give me 1 second, let me look it. I have it here from the email last night, 1 second. So there's a foreclosure judgment for this property issued on June 4th. And I'm gonna reference to this email as it's necessary to the laws of the city is now required to take on this property. Let me give you, sorry, my vision, there's a little. Trying to see how much is owed on this property.
Madam Chair, I need to be out of here at 7, FYI.
Fair.
I want to take back the amount because I'm not sure and it's not here. So I just want to make sure that I don't misspeak. Let me just check another fountain. And I apologize.
It's okay.
This is all, okay, I think I have it.
What I'll do, Counselor, is the ones that are in a time crunch is the ones we're gonna address, and then we'll,
This is the only one.
oh, is the only one?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I did misspeak. It's $47,010.71.
So it's not 400,000?
No,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Wait, hold on, because I wrote it down.
There is a
So you
number.
said 47,000. What was the exact nut figure?
I have $47,010.71 is what I'm seeing here out of our Munis system.
Okay. Okay, but my question, I believe, was, based on the Home Equity Theft Act, does the city have the ability to have a special interest in purchasing?
Oh, I haven't heard of any special interest to do any projects. We haven't even had a chance to discuss because
Yeah.
it's not even, it wasn't even, something that we were discussing.
Or can the city purchase based off of the Home Equity Theft Act? Could
I'm
the
sorry?
city, could the city buy property?
Well, it would become our property if this goes through, and then we would negotiate further from there. Or not negotiate, but we'll do the direct disposition or an RFP or whatever we
Also,
decide
at a later
to
point in
do.
time, you guys decide
Yeah,
on
just like
whether
we
to
do.
keep or whether you want to
Right.
release. Okay.
Well, we have to tell the court if we're gonna keep it or if we're not.
So would you happen to know if the city has
We're
made a
here before you
decision?
because, yes, we do want, these properties that are coming before you, we do want to keep.
Oh, okay,
That's what we want, but we need your vote
okay.
to be able to do that
All right,
for all of these.
so I'm opening the floor for discussions. Counselor LaPlante?
So to keep, but then to dispose of. We're not gonna have a city property. We're not gonna be putting a satellite city parking lot there or anything else. This is to keep and then.
Yeah, I
dispose.
haven't heard any of those discussions, not to say that that might not be something that we want to do later to alleviate
Yeah.
parking for the neighborhood, or I'm not sure what we decide to do, but for this purpose right here is just to report back to the court whether we're going to keep it or not.
And the difference between this Home Equity Theft Act versus the other, this declaration of surplus, I'm very familiar with the other declaration of surplus. That's where we have that list, and every department says, I don't need it, I don't want it, I don't need it. In this right here, that's not the same question. A declaration
Yeah,
of
we do actually, we have
Yeah.
already asked all the departments, and they have said no.
So if we,
So we shouldn't be hearing anything from any department, because they've already said that they don't have any interest in the property.
so if we don't have any interest in the property, we're not gonna have interest in putting parking there, hypothetically.
I don't understand why, to be honest. I don't
But
know if
I'm-
you
I'm not
agree
argu-
with me,
I'm not-
Counselor, but.
I'm not arguing the merits of whether we should or shouldn't, I just wanna make sure, I mean, are we saying that we don't want parking there, because we're not gonna own it? No
There's
department-
there's no language with conditions. This is not like an RFP where we do the conditions and we talk about that in the vote. That's not what we're doing here today.
No, I get it, I understand what, I think I understand what a declaration of surplus is, but in this unique situation under this Home Equity Theft Act, it seems as though there is a little different, there's a twist to it. We're gonna get more at the full council level on this question, but part of the twist is the city, through the sign-off sheets, nobody in the city says they want it for any reason.
Nope.
And any reason could be parking, that would be a
Right.
reason, so no reason. So we're gonna go to the court and say, yeah, the city is not interested in acquiring for its own purposes. However, the city is interested in acquiring it and then disposing of it, so we can get our money back, the $47,000 that's owed to the city. That's what we want to do, that's why
Right.
we wanna sell it.
Absolutely.
That's, so that's why,
Yes, because even if there's equity, we can't, because under the
Understood.
Home Equity Theft Act,
Understood.
I explained to you.
right, no, I understand, I get that now, I appreciate that. All right, so I guess we gotta figure out what the proper wording is, but I think I know where you're coming from on this, I'm pretty confident. And so if we vote today at the full council to declare it a surplus, that means we've instructed the court saying, yeah, we kinda wanna keep we wanna keep it for the purposes of selling it, and we're getting our money back.
Right,
That's what
so
we're
that we
telling
don't
the
lose
court.
on it, yeah,
When it's our money back, the taxes that are owed to the city, that's what we want back.
right,
Okay,
yes.
I'm sorry.
Just-
And I think that we can also have Capola and Capola come on Tuesday for the full council meeting. We can have the attorney who does this turnaround with back and forth with our tax collector's office. Have the tax collector come and answer any questions, and be sure that the attorney is here to ask, for you guys to ask any legal questions that you may have for him.
I'm sorry if I missed it. Maybe you guys, during the gist of your conversation, did you mention once this, if it gets approved, you guys go to the court to declare that you're gonna keep it, do you guys come back to us to declare it as a surplus once again, or how does that work?
Do you mean
once-
us as the housing? Because I think once it goes up, maybe at that council, but again, that's what I wanted the city attorney to be here to clarify, because there's been just some confusion on what's our roles and what can we do,
Yeah.
and, is it one bite out of the apple or two? And I wanted to clear that today.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that today for you guys, because I want you guys to be clear when you vote. So it's a valid question
Okay,
that I can't answer, or I'm not willing to answer, because I want to make sure you guys have the right answer.
all right. Well, yeah. so
I know.
I'm
It's a
I
tough-
have a-
Tough place to be.
I have questions, even though we're on a time crunch. So any further questions, Counselor Santiago, no?
Possibly, if I could suggest that in your language, that you invite whoever you think you may want to see on Tuesday for the full council to answer questions for you guys, and require them to be here.
I would
It's up to you.
suggest the
It's just a
attorney.
suggestion, because I want to make sure you guys have all your questions answered. And I can only answer the asset officer side,
I appreciate
the
that.
legal stuff. I want to make sure that it comes from the city attorney.
Thank you. All right, I'm looking for a recommendation,
I can make a
Counselor.
motion that we send this to the full council without a recommendation,
Okay,
What, you said without a,
with no recommendation, committee report, yeah.
okay.
fair enough.
And discussion, if that's been seconded.
Did you second it, okay.
So through you, so I think we need a legal opinion, so is it Capola and Capola, is this to our city attorney?
Bless
Who's
you.
I would say both, Capola and Capola for the home equity questions and the city attorney for the bite of the apple kind of questions,
Well, I mean,
declaration of
My
surplus.
question is more the bite of the apple question, more than the home equity question. I think I have that under control, but I don't know how my colleagues feel about that. So for sure, I'd like to see the city attorney be here
Yeah.
to answer that question.
Can I ask
And then,
something?
and just so you guys know, administration did make sure that I came with the right team to answer these questions because it's time sensitive.
Yep.
And that's why, you
Yep.
know, they asked for them to be here today.
Briefly, could you remind me again why in one document I'm seeing the assessed value and then this new document, so
Well,
what
that
occurred?
was an outdated number. And so when the numbers came back from the court,
Okay.
and I wanted to make sure you guys had the right representation for the value of the property.
All right, so any further discussions, ready to?
I would include in that motion that we invite the city attorney for the answer to the question we have regarding process.
Thank you. Okay, so motion has been made on item number 20825 to send to council as a committee report with the invitation of the attorney to answer questions on behalf of this item, which is the declaration of surplus property 266-272 Jackson Street, map 11, lot 1. Lot area of 6,474 square footage with an assessed value of $151,600. Properly second by Councilor Santiago. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it.
Madam
Okay.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we take the remaining documents as a block, document number, because I don't think there's anything imminent on these. So I would make a motion that we take document 20925, 21025, 21125, 21225, 21325, 21425 as a block.
Yes. It's all the same property. It was condos.
Okay.
So,
So motion
Air
has been
rights
made,
and
can I get a second? Okay, so motion has been made as a block to table the following items. Item number 20925, the declaration of surplus property 63-65 Newberry Street, map 87, lot 51-5. In addition to item number 210-25, declaration of surplus property 63-65 Newberry Street, map 87. Okay, I'm not gonna repeat all that. It's the same, okay, so it's the same address and the same lot number. Well, slightly different lot numbers. So, item number 21025, map 87, lot 51-6. Item 211-25, map 87, lot 51-7. Item number 212-25, map 87, lot 51-9. Item number 213-25, map 87, lot 51-13. And item number 214-25, map 87, lot 51-16. Motion has been made to table, properly second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
It was as a block.
As a block,
As a block and table?
to table.
Perfect, okay.
Yep. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Any other items that need to be tabled? No? Okay, motion, can I get a motion to,
Is there anything else, Madam Chair?
Charlotte?
Is there anything else?
there is nothing else.
Nothing? No.
It's the pressing home equity.
Okay, all right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye, and the ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, counselors.